Hello, Toastmasters, District 31, and guests who may not have been in a Toastmasters meeting before, but are curious about what Toastmasters is. You're joining us for a video interview series called the District 31 Close-Up, where I interview clubs from District 31. We learn about their club, the great things they're doing to engage existing members, and to recruit new ones. I'm your host today, Christian Austin. I am the District 31 2023-2024 Public Relations Manager. And today we're joined by the club officers from the club Framingham Natick Toastmasters. Wow, that's a mouthful, isn't it? Don't worry about that though. They have an abbreviation that you're not going to forget. They also call themselves the Fun Club. That's right, the Fun Club. And you're in store for a fun interview today as well, given by the Fun Club. The club had a stellar year last year. If you follow the Distinguished Club program, there'll be more information on that in the show notes, or you can go to Toastmasters International. They are a President Distinguished Club for the 2022-2023 year, earning 10 out of a possible 10 points. So let's congratulate the Framingham Natick Club for being able to achieve 10 out of 10 points. That is no trivial accomplishment. For those interested in the club, they're a community club, which means they're open to anyone who'd like to join their meeting or become a member. They go back to 1979 when they were founded. And back then, clubs were only in person. There was no hybrid or virtual meetings, but you're in luck. If you can't go in person, they have a virtual option as well. You can meet in a hybrid setting if you join the Framingham Natick Toastmasters Club. And they meet every Wednesday during the month. I'll provide additional details about the club, how you can join them, and when they meet at the end of the video series. And there'll also be some information in the show notes and in the last part of the video. Today, we're going to be doing a panel discussion type interview with the club, where I will serve as the panel moderator, and then all of our officers today will be panelists. I'll have some questions for the panelists, and the panelists will volunteer their opinion and share some details about the club in answering the questions. Get ready and to have some fun with the Fun Club today. Make sure you take out those notebooks because I'm probably as excited as you. I'm going to be taking copious notes about what the club is doing to achieve presidential distinguished status. But before we get into questions, let's learn a little more about the officers of the club. I'm going to go around the table and ask the officers / panelists to tell us a little about themselves. Starting with Sandra. Sandra, can you please tell us a little about yourself?
Thank you, Christian. My name is Sandra Eilers. I have been serving as the treasurer this past year. I started the club in 2008. I have also served, this is my second time as being treasurer. I've been sergeant of arms, secretary, vice president of education, and past president. And like I said, I've been in this club since 2008. And I did win a Triple Crown award as well as a silver level in the old Toastmasters before they called it Pathways.
Thank you, Sandra. And the Triple Crown, that is quite an accomplishment as well. Some more information.
Yeah, I was excited about that.
Yeah, congratulations on that. And for those not familiar with that, Google that Triple Crown. You can find out more information about the requirements that Sandra went through to achieve that award. Moving on next, I'd like to introduce Tracy. Tracy, can you tell us a little about yourself?
Sure, Christian, thank you. I am Tracy Eisenman. I served as VP of membership, and probably I live the furthest away from the group. I come from Pittsburgh, and I was invited into this group by one of the members, and I tried it out and fell in love. It's just such a wonderful, friendly group, and they're hybrid, so I can come. That's what's enabled me to be able to be with this group. And I've only been here for 2.5 years, but I'm growing and learning, and this has been a really great experience for me to be able to be part of this leadership team. I've grown a lot from it, and I'm very grateful to be part of the team.
Thank you, Tracy. As you said, hybrid meeting, a member from Pittsburgh, 2.5 years, inspired to become an officer. So make sure you pay attention as to what inspired Tracy to stick with the club and become an officer. We'll learn about that during the interview. Next, I'd like to introduce Aggie. Aggie, can you tell us about yourself?
Hi, Christian. Thank you so much for having us. Absolutely. My name is Aggie Lenitska, and I was a president of the club 22-23. I've been a member of Toastmasters International for almost 10 years. I can't believe it. It's been a decade. And I've been with the fun club, I would think 5 years almost. And I've learned tremendously by taking many roles. I was a VP of Education, VP of PR, and last year president. And I currently working of finishing my pathways, which I'm very excited about, and looking forward to this fantastic interview.
Thank you for that, Aggie. And Aggie mentioned she's finishing up her pathways. We'll be talking about pathways a little more and members engaging in pathways during the interview. Moving on next to Ginny. Ginny, can you please introduce yourself?
Thank you, Christian. My name is Ginny Layton-Leal. In 2022-23, I was the VP of Education. I've been a Toastmaster since 2014. I have served as VP of Membership, President, VP of PR, Secretary in another club. I am a DTM, so I have also been an area director and a club coach. I have loved this experience, and I'm really, really enjoying hearing what everyone else has to say. Back to you, Christian.
Thank you, Ginny. Experience outside the district as well. Bring that experience into the club, and we'll hear what Ginny has to say during the interview with her involvement in the club. Moving on next to Tyler. Tyler, can you please introduce yourself?
Thank you, Christian. My name is Tyler Montero, and I served as the VP of Public Relations for the 2022-23 Toastmasters year. And this is my first time serving as a club officer ever. I just recently completed the Pathfinder Award for my first pathway. I joined Toastmasters in 2021. I was invited by one of the members through work, and I've been in the club ever since, doing hybrid and from remote and in person. For me, I live halfway across the state in Massachusetts, so sometimes it's easier for me to be remote, and then sometimes it's easier for me to come in person. I like having that flexibility of doing both. Before I became a club officer, I've served on a committee to find club officers for the following year, and I've also served as conducting my own club event in an open house to get people into the club. I'm happy to be part of Toastmasters.
Thank you, Tyler. That is a lot of involvement for a newer member. First-time officer, Pathfinder Award. Congratulations for jumping right in and getting involved in the club and in leadership as well. Last but not least, Kathy, can you please introduce yourself?
My name is Catherine Vandal. I have been in the club since 2019. I've held the VP of PR. I have been the Sergeant of Arms. I have been the Secretary. And I was also last year, along with being Sergeant of Arms, I was the mentor coordinator. So I had 2 roles last year. I also won the area award for evaluations in the contest I think 2 years ago. So I have actually come out of my shell because of Toastmasters. And I am happier about it because I get to be able to talk to people now instead of being the person in back listening. So I love Toastmasters for that reason.
Thank you for sharing that, Kathy. Coming out of your shell, now you're the mentor coordinator. That involves a lot of coordinating with people.
I was the mentor coordinator last year, along with Sergeant at Arms last year.
And hopefully you're mentoring the new mentor coordinator this year. Hopefully we'll touch on that during the interview. Thank you for that, Kathy. And it was mentioned a couple times by the officers. I neglected to say up front, the officer positions that you see in the title are for the 2022-2023 year, because that's what we're mainly going to be discussing during the interview. But it's not confined to last year. If there's any great things happening this year, we want to hear all about that as well during the panel discussion. Now that the introductions are concluded, we know a little about the officers that are going to be telling us about the Fun Club today. Let's start off with some questions. I'll open the questions with just an overall question about the club. Anyone who'd like to answer, feel free to step in after I'm done with the question. I may elaborate on it, and others feel free to add your input to the question as well. My first question is, how would you describe the club? Can you describe an aspect of the club that other clubs may not have that adds value to your club? And I see Aggie's hand went up already. So Aggie, can you please tell us more about the club?
Absolutely, absolutely. This is actually a quite easy answer for you. As you mentioned, our club is not just abbreviation of Framingham and Natick Club. We actually have fun, and that's our signature, and I would say a motto. Fun Club. When you go and tell I went to Fun Club, everyone knows we're talking about Fun Hour Club. Yes, you know, the club, we try to be quite organized and make sure that everyone is doing what they're supposed to do. So there is no confusion. We try to have meetings on time and finish on time. But the bottom line is that we try to include fun and laughter in a process of learning and practicing public speaking. When you use that humor and laughter, that helps to eliminate the nervousness and the anxiety of public speaking that many of us have, even after being a Toastmaster member for many years. And that's the reason why we joined the club. Now, what makes us so special, I would say, because we feel very special, we feel very privileged. I would like to look at it from two perspectives. First, the logistical aspect of it. As you mentioned, highlighted many times, we are a hybrid club, meaning we meet online and in person. Anyone who wants to join us in person can come at any time. Anyone who wants to visit us or join the club from all over the states, all the world, is welcome to do so. Hence, we have Tracy here who joined us from Pennsylvania. We just have recently gained a new member from Rhode Island. We used to have a member from Illinois, if you remember, guys. From Chicago. So that opens up, anyone basically can join the club or visit us or check out what we are all about. The other aspect is that we meet weekly, which gives members flexibility to plan their speeches. And, sometimes people have life besides Toastmasters, they cannot make it. So they don't have to wait another 2 or 3 weeks to meet. They can do it next week. Also, we try to accommodate if there is a lot of people wants to give speeches. We try to accommodate by providing extra time, extra meetings, either it's online or different day to accommodate. And Janie did fantastic work last year, where we had a lot of people trying to finish their pathways, especially in the springtime. Also, we are located in a fantastic location just off Route 9 for people who are local, and we have plenty of space, so anyone can park and just, you know, it's close to Natick, close to Ashland, close to a lot of neighborhoods. So it's very strategically, it's very great location. Now, the second aspect of that's my way of seeing is the community. I feel very strongly that we build very strong community. I call my Toastmasters, I call my Toastmasters family, because we really try to connect. We do a lot of outings. We do a lot of things together, not just within a club. And within a club, yes, we organize different workshops. We had 3 workshops last year, led by our members. We have 2 speech contests. We try to always support each other, not just within a club, but also outside. We always have Friendsgiving dinner, Christmas party, summer potlucks. Yesterday, as a matter of fact, I met with 9 or 10 members, and we went for a hike just to get to know each other and spend time and connect with the nature and each other. So this is really fantastic that we can offer that to people so they can feel comfortable, not just speaking in front of us, but comfortable opening and giving really great speeches. One thing that I also want to mention, we have a very diverse club. There are members from many countries with many cultures and many languages. We have members that are in their 20s and their 40s and their 80s even, I believe. So you can see the making connections and to connect and support each other and respect each other. It's the way how we build that community. And I really truly believe that whoever is coming to visit our club in person, especially in person, is seeing that connection and seeing that support, and as Tracy mentioned, the warmth of the club and the fun always represents. We try to make sure that we are enjoying each other's company and support, and we respect each other.
Thank you, Aggie. What I heard there, fun is actually fun. It's not just the abbreviation of the name, the community, the warmth, the ease of being able to join the meeting. Tyler may want to join hybrid when he can't drive, or maybe he wants to drive and be in person. Very, very accessible. A lot of value there that some clubs aren't doing, not going out on outings with other members. That is something that the Fun Club does. They engage all their members. It's not just about speaking and leadership, it's about community as well. Would anyone else like to say anything about the value add of the club that maybe some of the other clubs and Toastmasters are not doing? Tyler.
Just want to mention that during COVID, we were all online, isolated in our rooms and with masks. I thought that Toastmasters in general has given me an out and allowed me to connect with other people that I would have not normally have been able to meet in my lifetime. So I want to also thank Toastmasters and the Fun Club for giving me that opportunity to continue to network even during those tough times.
Great point, Tyler. And I think a lot of people got that out of Toastmasters clubs in general. You definitely got it out of the Fun Club. Aggie mentioned the diversity. There are different types of people you can connect with in the club and make those connections, find similar interests, and that engages you as the leader and also finding speech topics. Moving on, let's talk about leadership now. We talked about just the club overall and the value it brings, but the club is not the club without a good leadership core. So I'd like to know, what are you doing as a club and leaders to inspire your members? What are you doing as club leaders to inspire your members? Aggie.
Christian, I will start because it's something that it's a very good question. When you are president, how do you inspire your officers? How do you inspire your members? And I guess my personal style of leadership is lead by example. And I try to incorporate, and I hope the rest of the officers also will share their experience. But I feel if you are there for people, if you support them, so for example, if there's no one who is taking a Toastmaster role for the next week and you jump in, you show them that, hey, you are there for them. If someone cannot make the meeting or needs some help and you support them, they know that you are there for them. And just by showing them that if I can do it, you can do it too. If I'm making mistakes, it's okay for anyone else to make mistakes, because we all make mistakes and we are here to learn, obviously. And so this is my personal opinion. That's my style, but I'm pretty sure anyone here in this panel can speak from themselves how everyone has different style, of course, and I would encourage anyone to jump in.
Would anyone else like to add to that? Thanks, Aggie. Kathy.
I think just supporting all of the members as an officer, like me as the mentor coordinator, I supported all of the new people and gave them advice at the beginning when they didn't have a mentor to take the small roles, take it up and just interact with everyone, interact with the meeting, and get used to being talking. And just introducing myself to people and introducing older members to the newer members was a lot of help and a lot of support we gave to all the new members. And that's how the leadership works, is you support everyone. And I enjoyed supporting people with that.
And that support as being a coach for the new members, the mentor lead, letting them know that they're new, but they can do it too. You're there to support them. The club's there to support them, and they shouldn't be afraid to get a little uncomfortable with things that, as Aggie said, even as experienced Toastmasters, we get a little uncomfortable with. Letting them know that, and they can do it too, just inspires them. Thanks for sharing that, Kathy. Would anyone else like to add to that question?
I will.
Sandra.
I think it's important that as new members come on and they join the club, they tend to start out with the very minor roles, being the act counter, being the timer, maybe doing the word of the day. And as people recognize what they are accomplishing, even the smaller roles, and they get credit for that, and people tell them they do a good job and they feel valued part of the club, they're more likely to in time take on the larger roles. When they get recognition for even the smallest role they do, they build on that, and that helps build their confidence and take on harder roles, and eventually they can become a leader.
Great point. And that's a good tip for anyone, for those newer members. Encourage them to take on the smaller roles where they may be intimidated to get up there for that 4 to 6 minute icebreaker. They'll eventually do it, but not at first. So take on that 30-second slot of maybe giving a tip or something short so that it's not as intimidating. You reinforce that they did a great job, and they'll take on those larger, longer roles in the future.
Exactly, as they gain confidence.
Thank you, Sandra.
I'd just like to give a shout out to Tracy as our long distance VP of membership, who did an amazing job this year. We switched to hybrid in around last spring, and we were still getting our feet under us in terms of working out our tech and making sure that our microphones were working. She took on the Zoom host role, and most of the time she was our Zoom host. It actually works perfectly as a VP of membership because she was chatting with the guests, and it really helped keep the online community together and helped make sure everyone understood what was going on. So I really commend her for taking on that role, and it just came naturally.
That's a great tip too for hybrid or virtual. The Zoom master or the Zoom host to interact with those members, make sure if they're just there and nobody's talking to them, take that lead and make sure that they feel that they're welcome into the meeting and encourage them to possibly take on roles, participate in table topics. Great tip there. Thanks for sharing that, Ginny, and thanks for doing that, Tracy. All right, moving on, let's talk about education. And I'm looking at these just mind-blowing numbers here. The club completed 32 pathway levels this year. Wow. I know that's right because I looked at the club dashboard. I have to know, how are you encouraging members to A, give those pathway speeches, and B, actually complete the projects in Basecamp so that you get credit in the Distinguished Club program? Would anyone like to answer that question? Ginny.
I'd be happy to. One of the tenets, the principles that we try to apply is something that I learned from Anna Kaufman when she promoted doing improv at one of the district conferences. And when you do improv, you always have to say yes and to your partner in an improv situation. So as VP of Education and as officers, when a member comes to us with an idea, no matter how crazy it sounds, we try to say yes and find a way to make it happen. As VP of Education, I was also proactive in thinking about projects that people could do that they could apply to Pathways projects. People, especially if they're new members, they have never seen a speech contest before, but we actually had a new member take it on sight unseen to do our fall speech contest. Even though it's not an official contest, it gave her the experience, and she was a master of ceremonies or Toastmaster of the contest. Also making it a point to seek out people who you might have seen are not doing projects. You haven't seen them give a speech recently, personally inviting. Also being open to volunteers. If they're people who they're very excited about something, you want to make sure that they can do that. Anytime someone takes on the table topics master role or the Toastmaster role, I specifically reach out to them and say, do you realize that you could get credit for this in Basecamp? So open up those two, the Active Listening Project and the Managed Online Meetings Project, and you can get credit for those. So I check in to see whether they've opened the project before they actually perform the role. And then afterwards, I remind them to do the post assessment so that they can get credit for that. I think those are the major ways that we do that. Does anyone else want to jump in?
I want to also mention that last year we got a lot of new members, and I believe Jeannie, Tracy, how many new members we got? I think over 20 or so. So with that number, if everyone is doing speeches once a month at least, the numbers just make sense at the end of the year. So that really helped us to achieve that that goal that you mentioned.
Aggie, I'm looking at your dashboard. 29 new members last year. Another number that's astonishing.
Yes, it is. So that's why you see the numbers. If you can calculate, that's why we got so many speeches done last year. And we had to expand the speaking slots to different days because we were running out of time.
Are you typically?
Can I jump in here?
Absolutely.
The expanding the speaking slots actually came from a member of ours who joined us. I can't remember if it was in 2018. she had been a Tony Robbins instructor. She was a very driven person, and she got permission to become a DTM in 1 year. The way she did that was that she was area director and she was an officer in our club, and she did it. And at the same time, she wrote 3 books. The woman was amazing. And she did not want to take speaking slots away from other people. So she encouraged us to do what she called accordion scheduling, so that when other people wanted to give speeches, we would schedule a speechathon, just 4 to 6 speeches, evaluator, Toastmaster, timer. And that's what we did. So throughout the year, we just expanded or contracted the speaking slots as needed. This past year, we did add additional speechathon slots, and some people had specific longer projects that they wanted to do with a smaller audience. So we would still add that event to our free Toast Host agenda. It was an agenda was created, so we have a record of it, and we would work with what members wanted to present in terms of speeches, and it worked really well.
And Ginny, just to elaborate on what you said before about personally inviting people who have not volunteered in a while to participate, and then also pointing out that you could be a Toastmaster and you could potentially check off managing online meetings. Are you, as a VP of Education or other officers, pointing out to members that, hey, this is a Pathways project that you seem to be interested in this area, you have this topic, you could fit into this role? If you do that, you can check off a Pathways project. Are you suggesting Pathways projects that members can check off as well?
Yes, and sometimes members will email me. Aggie did, and other people have, saying, there's this project I would like to do. Where could it fit in Pathways? Sometimes people get confused about that, or they just don't see it. So it's helping people see the larger picture. And there are so many opportunities. I know some members have said, oh, I've done 3 pathways. I don't know how I can talk about another mentoring experience. And I said, most of us have multiple mentors in life, and mentors who may not be called mentors, but they have mentored us in effect. So it's finding how to view those and how to shape that into a speech. There are so many aspects of our lives that are not related to Toastmasters that do apply, that we can apply to Pathways projects.
Recommendations, right? If you don't know, I'm talking to the audience now, what to do for a Pathways project, approach your VP of E like members were approaching Ginny. Ginny has some ideas of, this is what you want to give a speech on. It probably fits into this Pathways project. So just don't give an unassigned speech. Talk to your VP of Ed about a Pathways project that you can complete and get that practice getting up and speaking or leading as well. I'd like to continue on education, but let's move on a little more. My last question related to education is, what is your process for getting new members engaged in meeting roles and giving speeches? I think we pretty much covered that already. Was there anything else you wanted to add on that topic?
Just briefly, as VPE, I would send an initial email as soon as I received a message that the new member had signed up, and sent them information on getting started on both the Toastmasters website and our club website. Information on signing up for, or actually an invitation to contact me so that we could have a quick Zoom meeting, maybe 20 minutes, where I would personally help them sign up for grammarian, counter, timer, invocator, and their icebreaker. Make sure that they were signed up in a pathway. Some members are very proactive and would sign right up for a path. Others needed to go through the assessment, and we would talk about their goals. I would also have them complete a goal setting sheet so that they could picture where they wanted to be by June 30th of next year. That was a great way to get them started. And then, because we also have our agendas set up in advance, people have an easier time scheduling their speeches.
And 2 things I'd like to ask Ginny. Agenda set up ahead of time, is that the free Toast Host system that you do use to get members to digitally sign up for their roles in advance?
Yes, absolutely.
And then the goals that you're talking to the members about in that 20-minute meeting, Is that something that they put on a piece of paper or a digital form and then we'll come back and review later on in the year? How does that typically work?
Yes, I had it on a paper form. This year's VPE is more tech oriented, so people did an online survey, which is fantastic. I had not only laid out some speaking goals, but also laid out leadership goals and framed those in terms of providing support for the meeting. Perhaps someone wanted to be Toastmaster, or perhaps they have ideas about themes for meetings or ideas for extra events like our hiking. They wanted to do some sort of special event. So to having people really think about those in terms of this is a leadership opportunity for me, or this is a specific speaking opportunity. And then also lay out how many, or have them think about how many levels they wanted to complete and explain to them what that entailed. 5 speeches, 6 speeches, to help them make that connection between completing projects in Basecamp and completing levels and then earning the Pathfinder or DTM or whatever award they wanted.
So both setting those goals and then setting expectations as well. It's great to have very lofty goals, but you as the VP of Education made sure everyone was grounded in the sense that these are pathway projects that you can achieve to get those levels completed, and that's how you match up with your goals.
Yes,
Some great advice,
exactly.
Ginny. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we will, oh, Tracy.
Wanted to add one thing, Christian. After the speeches are given for the new members, I would usually come around behind and follow up and send them an email and congratulate them on their first speech. Aggie would always say something at the end of the meeting if it was his first speech, and just give them acknowledgement that they'd done it. And even in Zoom, we would chat. I would chat and let them know what a great job they did. And I think that really helped keep people engaged and feel good about what they were doing. And remember that we're in the fun club and we're all having fun.
The fun club, again, going back to that community mentioned and the warmth in the beginning, letting members know that their achievements are recognized and the members are behind them as well. Great way to motivate members. Thanks for sharing that, Tracy. Let's talk about membership now. We just mentioned before 29 new members, which is just, as I said, is astonishing recruitments. Congratulations for recruiting that many members this year. To talk a little more about recruiting and how you're actually able to recruit 29 members in a year, I have a three-pronged question. We don't have to answer each part of it, but just an idea of recruiting. So what are you doing to market for members? How are you connecting with prospective members and inviting them to meetings? And then third, how are you converting them into members once they join a meeting and they see how fun it is? Tracy.
I can take that a little bit. And Tyler, he raised his hand too, because Tyler was a big part of that, as and I'll let him talk about that. We did a lot, we did some outreach, but I think our website, our website had a lot to do with it. I don't think all clubs have a website. And people mentioned that would come in that they'd seen our website. It looked like we were engaged, that we were organized. They could see everything that we were right from that website. And I think that it played a big role in representing our club the way that we support our new members, or all of our members, and how we run the club. And Tyler, I'm going to let you talk about everything that you did. This man, he was amazing.
Tyler.
Jumping off the website, every week I would end up updating the website on the homepage so everyone would be able to know what was going on in the fun club. Every week on our meeting agenda, there would be a different picture to signify the theme of the meeting. So our club has themes based on the week that the Toastmaster, whoever is hosting that meeting, can choose, and they can also choose their own picture as well. And I think that also clarifies what's happening in the meeting and how much fun we're having too in our club. It really encourages everyone to come to the fun club because with an active website, they can see that we're a current club and that we're always doing something. When it comes to social media and all of a sudden people stop posting on their pages or their website, it creates a concern because you have no idea if the club is even active. But if you see the website posts update every single week, it gives a good sign that the club is active for the public. We also have specific directions on how to get to our club from different areas on Route 9, no matter what direction you're coming to, and to how you even get into the club itself and park. Our parking is free for everyone, and our club is free for everyone to join. So it makes it really easy to have good directions on the club website on where everyone should meet and what time to get there. Another thing we do is we have a meetup.com page for new members, and it helps them to be able to see what's going on. Sometimes people from meetup.com, they want to get out. They want to try something new. And when they see the Fun Club, they can see that there's different active Toastmasters clubs within District 31. But with the Fun Club, they can also go have a direct link to our website and our Facebook page to see what's happening on there. And lastly, we have our Eventbrite page that we use once in a while for big events such as our club open houses. We usually have one in the fall and the spring every year. So twice a year we have two huge recruiting events to give everyone and the guests a glimpse of what the Fun Club is all about and how our meetings are structured. And that is a huge part of what we do for recruiting members to the Fun Club.
Thank you, Tyler. The Facebook, the website, when you say website, is that the free Toast Host website that you have set up? I see people nodding their heads. So again, free Toast Host, if you're not using it, fabulous resource. We're going to have a link to the Fun Club's website so you can use that as an example. Also, Tyler mentioned meetup.com, a free resource to let people know that they can come to your club just like any other meetup group, especially if it meets every single week on Wednesdays. Get that word out there. I saw, Aggie, you had your hand up. One last question I want to ask before you elaborate on that was, when you're advertising for open houses, is there anything in particular you're doing to get the word out, or is it just on all of those media channels you mentioned?
I guess Tyler, go ahead.
We've been using Canva to have a QR code and a link to our event for the public to use. And has been a huge help in getting us to advertise our club open houses. We also have this event called Natick Days as well, which is going to be coming up in September on the 9th with a rain date of the 10th on Saturday and Sunday respectively. And that's a huge way in Natick to have our club be present. So Natick Days is a nonprofit event that allows other organizations to show what they've done in the local area in Metro West. And our club joins that every year. We're right now going to be but being a part of that. And our current VP of Public Relations is currently in the process of preparing the event for us. And that's a huge way in person for us to recruit people. And we also heavily advertise our fall open house during that time.
Thanks for that, Tyler. Aggie.
Yes, I also wanted to mention, Tyler forgot to mention that we are registered on Google as a nonprofit business. So someone is looking for Googling, like literally Googling Toastmasters Framingham. We are right there. We have a page, we have information, there's the directions, anything that's related to that informational aspect of it. And we have some reviews as well. At least we are trying to get it. But it's easier to find us through Google as well. One thing also that I wanted to mention, I don't know if Tracy meant to say it or not, but is at any time if someone send us inquiry about the club, send an email, I would receive and Tracy, and we would have this, that's our internal code. We need to respond within 24 hours. Right, Tracy? You want to elaborate on that?
I think that was a big part of our recruitment and how so many people came to our club and they're still there. It was really a leadership joint effort. Tyler would do his magic with the PR and let people see what we were doing. And they would come in through the system or through one of those vehicles, Facebook or Meetup, and it would come to Aggie. She would shoot it over to me, or Free Toast Host would shoot it to me. I would send out a short but sweet introduction and invitation for them to come and meet us. And once they decided, which was usually that night or the next time they came, that they wanted to become a member because they had fun, I would send them to Ginny, and Ginny would get them to understand the educational process and work them through that. They would pay Sandy, and she would take care of them and put them into the international piece. And then Kathy would make sure they had a mentor. And this whole leadership group worked like clockwork, and it would happen really quickly. So they were processing in. Some people joined even before their first meeting last year. It was amazing because they wanted in. They said, I want to become a member, and we would have them processed within 24 hours. And so they could get to that next meeting. It was so fun.
That is impressive. And the system that you form by working together coherently like that to process members, to attract them, to give them the information they need, that this club is a good fit for them, and then to turn them into members. It's not just one person doing it. It's the whole team of officers working together to make that membership, the 29 members, happen. So working as a team, really, really important. And you guys did a great job of it this year, as evidenced by the amount of people that you recruited. Thanks for sharing how you're recruiting members. I do want to move on to talking about membership retention. It's very important to be able to recruit members, but keeping those members, especially longtime members in the club, is very important as well. People who think that, oh, I met all my goals, I don't really need to be a Toastmaster anymore. How are you constantly keeping people engaged and just keeping them as members? So can you please state any specific examples you have of keeping members engaged in the club? This could be both in the club and outside the club. I heard some mention of events outside the club as well. So if anyone would like to talk about member retention and the magic that you're working to keep those members engaged in the club.
Christian, I can answer that.
Thank you, Sandra.
Well, first of all, obviously I've been a member of this club for about 15 years now. So I've been here for a very long time. I will definitely say that during that time period, we have gained and lost different people for different reasons. But the first thing you have to remember is this is a community club, and people generally like to feel that they belong, that they're part of a community, that they're valued, that people want them there. So we work really hard to make sure that people feel valued, they're part of the community, and yes, they're wanted there. One of the first things we do when they show up their very first night, we make sure that all the guests are recognized. The president calls on them and recognizes the guests, that we noticed you're here. Hello, you're here. Tell us about yourself. So they will tell us a few, minute or two about themselves. And at the end of the meeting, we ask, if they like the meeting. We encourage them to become a guest, a member, if that's what they want to do right away. And some people want to join right away. We also recognize all the individual accomplishments. The first time they're a timer, the first time they give a speech, their icebreaker speech, the first time they may be Toastmaster, first time they're tabletop master. So they're recognized for stepping up to that role for the first time. People are given minor awards as they achieve certain goals and ribbons for maybe completing their first pathway or whatever it is. And we're constantly encouraging personal growth, which is why many, many members of this club come here in the first place. Most people here are interested in personal growth. That's a very high goal for them. I know it is for me. So when they give a speech, especially their first speech, if you tell them they did everything great, wonderful speech, you did every great thing great, you have nothing to improve on. Okay, why are they here? They don't need to be here. They already know everything, right? They're not going to come back. If you tell them that, oh, you did this wrong, well, they're going to get discouraged and they're not going to come back. So you have to be very careful and say, even a first-time speaker will have things that they're already doing well, whether they realize it or not. So you point out the things that they're doing well. They may have good eye contact. They may have good stage presence, whatever it is they're doing well. So we encourage them by, this is what you're already doing well. This is what you may want to work on and you may want to do better. And, so it's a little bit of, this is what you're doing well. This is what you can improve on. So they know that they're doing well in certain things already, but they can definitely improve. So it's a lot of, like I said, recognition, valuing them as a member, and reaching out to them maybe if they haven't come to a meeting for a while, to just know that, yes, they are valued as part of a community. I mean, if I wasn't getting what I wanted out of this club and being valued as part of the community and valued as a member, there's no way I would have lasted 15 years. So this club is a very important part of my life and several other people that I know here. And I think that's a great attribute of the club and everything it offers to its members. So.
Thank you, Sandra. And personal testimony there, right? 15 years, that is member retention right there. An experienced Toastmaster who keeps on coming back and feels that they're getting her personal goals met in each of the meetings she goes to. Thanks for sharing that. Kathy.
I just want to give a shout out to Ginny, because she would do a meet every role contest twice a year. And that included all members. So if you did every role on the agenda, she would come up with an award for you. So whoever did it first would get a nice award, and then other awards would come with that. So it was like, you want to meet that goal so you can get the award. So I think that keeps people wanting to be involved in the club too. And I want to congratulate Jenny for that.
Well, thank you, Kathy. I did call it the Do Every Role Challenge. And then I went to a club officer training, I believe it was last winter, and discovered that some other clubs do this too. And they call it a versatility award, which is a much nicer thing to be able to come back to your boss and tell them at work that that's what you've received from your club. But it was a great incentive for people and really helped us get agendas filled quickly.
The Do Every Role or Versatility Award. That is a new one to me, and that's a great idea to get people engaged. And again, another way to recognize people for achievements, for being active participants in the club. Anything you can do, again, to recognize the member and what they're doing for the club and how they're growing as a member is going to encourage them and keep them engaged.
And also I want to give a shout out to Tyler, because he actually won that award last December, and having officers pitch in and show that they are engaged is a great way to be a role model for other members too. We did have other members who were newer members who won the award this past June.
Thanks, Jenny. And we heard leading by example before, and that is the best way to lead. If the leader is doing it, the members will probably follow as well without telling them what to do. Would anyone else like to say anything else about membership retention before we move on?
I just want to say one thing. Recently I heard the expression, if you find your people will help you find yourself. And I think that very much applies to this club.
Again, that is mentioned diversity of the club. There is a wide array of people from different backgrounds, different ages, different geography in the club. Everybody's welcome, and you're recognizing everybody that comes to the club for their achievements and making them feel part of that. We heard that word, community, true sense of a community club. Thanks, Sandra. We mentioned, great segue, Jenny, talking about awards and recognition. We heard about the Do Every Role Award. Are there any other awards that you're giving out? And in general, how are you recognizing member achievement, either physical or digital awards that you give members? And then how do you recognize those achievements? What is the process of checking on members' achievements, whether pathways or other goals we talked about in the beginning, the form they fill out in the very beginning when they meet with their mentor about their goals? So how is the club recognizing member achievements? And then what are some of the recognitions or awards that the club is giving out?
As Sandy mentioned, at every meeting, anyone who takes on a role for the first time, we applaud for them usually multiple times, because the GE will mention it, the Toastmaster will mention it. So people get a lot of approval for taking on a first-time role. In terms of pathways awards, we haven't, at least I haven't, gotten into the habit of awarding the digital badges. And that is because we like to give awards publicly. We make a big deal out of the icebreaker, and we give an icebreaker pin. We give ribbons for achieving each level. If a person earns the Pathfinder Award, then they either receive it at the district club officer training, or the area director comes and presents it within the club. At our holiday and June parties, we present Toastmasters branded gifts and certificates to members who either earned the Versatility / Do Every Role Award, or in some other way excelled in supporting the club. We had several people who facilitated workshops, such as a workshop on evaluation and a workshop on being present on the stage. And so we gave certificates and awards to the facilitators of those meetings. The most exciting thing that I ever experienced was in 2020, when another member and I earned our Distinguished Toastmaster. We had a member who worked at a lumber yard, and he had access to a huge truck. This was during the pandemic. So what happened was all of the members who were available put on their masks, and they came down to the parking lot of the church where we meet. And there, when I drove in, there was this huge lumber truck with an enormous banner that said, "Congratulations, Joe and Ginny, on your DTM." And all of the members caravanned from the church where we met to present my award to the house of the other member, Joe, who had earned his DTM. And we just had a blast. It was the most memorable earning of a DTM that I have ever heard about. Now, not everyone is going to have access to a truck, paint a huge banner, but find some way to really celebrate your members and feel like, you know, they have done something good. It was unforgettable. And so we try to encourage people to come up with different ways to let people know that we value them. And I think it's I think new members, when they come in, they always see us either inducting someone or presenting an icebreaker pin or a ribbon. So it's very frequent that we have people being recognized. And I think that just creates an atmosphere of people are here doing things. Let's join them.
Again, follow the lead, and then mentioning awards, the truck that came with that big banner, you caravanned over to another member's house. This was outside the club. The point here is everything doesn't need to be confined into that 1 or 2 hour meeting. It's a community. Feel free to have events outside of the club meeting. In fact, encourage events outside the club meeting. And some of the best ideas for speeches or leadership or bonding between club officers will probably happen during that time. And Ginny, I hope you have a picture of that truck that we could include with the show notes, because everyone is curious now. I want to see that big banner on that truck, because I've seen banners in my meetings. They're kind of big, but a big banner on a truck, that's a whole nother level.
I will get you that picture.
Excellent. Thank you, Ginny. Now I'd like to talk about meeting planning before we conclude this meeting. In particular, describe special meetings, which you've described some already, or events that you've held or are planning on holding this year. How do you go about planning and advertising these meetings? They could be open houses, contests, speakathons. We heard about many of these already. Could you provide some detail about how you organize and plan for those special events, and some of the special events in a little more detail if you'd like to share?
Well,
already
can I just, I'll start off, but I think Tyler and Aggie and others may want to jump in. As VPE, I would make it a point to add a message on the meeting notes for multiple weeks so that people were aware of programs coming up or events coming up. Also create an agenda for each event. Natick Days, we would, even though it's on a Saturday or Sunday, we create an agenda for that so people have access to all the information. They don't have to dig through emails. Making the information accessible is a really key point. Tyler or someone else, would you like to add to that?
Yes, so the way we advertise our meetings is, as Ginny mentioned, through our website. And we'd also encourage members every week leading up to the event, such as Natick Days, every week, that there's an opportunity for them to help out at Natick Days and to also be a part of that process. Outside of Natick Days, we also have a committee that is working on that project. But also, if people volunteer and lead Natick Days, they also have a chance to earn a project that can go towards a level 3, 4, or 5 speech. So that can also help other members and leaders get credit for their pathway within Natick Days. From Natick Days, we also use that as a platform to encourage other events. As I had mentioned before, we have 2 open houses, one in the fall and one in the spring, but we also have a club level contest that could either consist of evaluations, table topics, or a speech contest that will prepare them for future contests at the district, area, and international level in the spring. And that's another way to encourage members to be part of any special projects and meetings.
Yeah, Tyler, you brought up Natick Days again. For anyone who has a town that has community fairs or events, 2 things to mention there. One, you mentioned a level 3 pathway. So for the person who wants to organize and lead it, get a pathway project checked off. And secondly, attending the events, meeting new people, and spreading the word about the club as well. So great points there, and a great advertising opportunity in your own local community to meet with people in person, with people who may want to come to an in-person meeting which you're hosting. Aggie, was there something you wanted to say?
Oh, so I think I'm gonna quickly echo Jeannie and Tyler. We try to engage members because if they are engaged, more likely, first of all, they will get credit for it. They will have fun, and also they will publicize it to their friends, colleagues, co-workers, family, community, libraries, towns, etc. And it also depends. We don't have you ask if we have any coming up events. I'm sure there are a few coming up that I'm not gonna disclose at the moment because it's still a work in process. I'm pretty sure we will have one more workshop, and we also as a community are planning to organize youth program for the nearby youth in our community. So that also engages our members, but also the community. So it's still work in progress, and it's a lot of work, but it's, as I said, it's the community. It goes throughout all this our interview, but it is the key. It is the key to success and promoting our club and spreading the word about us.
Thanks, Aggie. And stay tuned for those upcoming events. They're undercovers right now, but there's a website that will be in the show notes and we've talked about before. Make sure to visit that website to see all of the things that the Fun Club is doing in the future. We've come to that time of the meeting where we have to come to a conclusion at some point, and I'd like to ask all of you, why should someone come visit your club? Are there any closing thoughts that you'd like to leave Toastmasters with?
Well, maybe I'll start first. So for the fellow Toastmasters who are watching us right now, I say, come and visit us, and maybe our club will be your second or third club. For anyone else who is just listening to us, please come and visit. I mean, I think we highlighted many times about our clubs, how warm we are and how fun we are, first of all, and welcoming. And there is no other reason why you should not come and visit us, whether in person, which is even better, or via Zoom. Anyone else?
Kathy.
Well, I mentioned that I was in a shell and that Toastmasters brought me out of the shell. So anyone that is looking to find their voice and be a part of a community that welcomes people who are in their shell and help them get out of their shell, please come to our club because we do it really good. Thank you.
And that is all part of Toastmasters, right? Coming out of that shell, getting more comfortable public speaking, which leads to many other opportunities socially, meeting people and coming out of the shell in general in social situations. So if any of that sounds like something you'd like to be more comfortable with, get better at speaking, leadership, Kathy just gave a testimonial there on what the Fun Club did for her. Would anyone else like to share any concluding thoughts? Tyler.
To go off of what Kathy said about getting out of your shell, I think it really helps to just take the first step, to do that first role, to do that first speech or that first level, and take the initiative to pursue more public speaking roles. I know it can really help in not only your own life, but in your career. If you have, for example, meetings, or you're conducting interviews for other people, or you have a lot of calls at work, I think that Toastmasters can be a great fit to develop yourself personally and at a professional level. And with our support in the Fun Club, we have so much help and wonderful people such as Aggie, Ginny, Kathy, Sandy, Tracy, and myself, all of us. To anyone listening out there, please join Toastmasters as a way to develop yourself at your own level. And we can get you there.
Thank you, Tyler, and definitely join Toastmasters. Would anyone like to tell all of our audience how to join your club, when exactly you meet, and where you meet?
Absolutely. We meet every Wednesday from 7 till 9 o'clock in Framingham, and the address is 24 Vermont Street. If you didn't remember that, don't worry. Go on Google, search Framingham Toastmasters, and you will find us there. You can also find us on Facebook. Also search Framingham Natick Club. And you can find us on Toastmasters International as well. You can contact us via Facebook or our website. On the website, there is an inquiry. You can fill out the information. And if you don't feel comfortable filling out information and sending through email, there is a phone number. You can always reach someone in person and talk to someone before you actually make the decision. So there are many ways of finding us. Remember, every Wednesday evening from 7 till 9, either in person or through Zoom.
Thank you for that, Aggie. And at the end of the video in the show notes, there will be links to the website and social media where you can find more information about the Fun Club. I took some great notes tonight. In conclusion, what I heard is the Fun Club is a fun community. There are plenty of meetings every week to give speeches in a great location right off Route 9, really convenient to get to. Or if you can't get there, join them in a virtual meeting because they are a hybrid club. They'll accommodate any level of speaking experience wherever you are in Pathways. Feel welcome and get feedback on all of your accomplishments and continue to grow regardless of your experience. They keep their members engaged. Check out that website. You'll see a theme for the next meeting that you can make up a speech and speak to. Join the meeting and speak to that theme. And look out for the upcoming events, which haven't been disclosed yet, but go to that website and see what they're going to be. And last but not least, join a meeting because you'll be valued and the meeting is guaranteed to be fun. Thank you all for joining me tonight. And I'm wishing the Fun Club the best Toastmaster year yet.